Welcome to the start of my Let's Play for Pokemon Gold and my baby run. And yeah, that means we're going to be using an entire team comprised of baby Pokemon for this run. Which does mean I'm going to be at a major statistical disadvantage throughout pretty much the entirety of this run. There's no getting around it. Most baby Pokemon can't fight for crap. Doesn't mean they're worthless, because they do have some interesting strategies they can pull off, but pulling them off successfully is usually the trick, considering you can't take a hit for much of anything with this team. But we'll see. And if I have to, I guess I can power level my way to victory, but I'd prefer to use skill if I can. Yeah, but for the most part, you battle with them, let's face it. I mean, you have stuff like Pokemon breeders and contest people, but for the most part, it's all about the battles. I mean, that's what you have to do the entire main game, after all. Battle your way to the top as, you know, the champion. The greatest Pokemon trainer ever. And why are we going with the name Bicky? Well, it rhymes with Vicky. You know, making a reference to the Fairly Odd Parents. It's the only way I can really think to make her name sound more, masculine, besides maybe putting a TR in front of it and calling her Tricky, but I really didn't want to make a reference to Star Fox Adventures. Gosh darn, do I hate Prince Tricky. Screw that character. Seriously, he's so bloody annoying. Seriously, all he does is nag you like the entire game. Of course, I've never finished Star Fox Adventures, sadly. The first I ever got was I got stuck in the, village, where you had to start doing those challenges in order to advance, and I could never beat that one log pushing contest for some reason. I don't know if it's because I was just missing some item or something, because I jumped ahead using a walkthrough or something, or what. No, it's not really Sunday, it's Tuesday morning, but you know what? It doesn't really matter. None of the Pokemon I can catch in this run are tied to days of the week, after all. And if they were, we're just gonna cheat them in early, so yeah. The date doesn't matter. Now to hit up Professor Elm's place. Now let's see, what you got for me? Yeah, you always have to ask me for favors. Especially when it involves Mr. Pokemon and his crazy discoveries. Like Pokemon eggs, because, you know, that's just insanity right there. Actually, it is kind of insane when you think about it, because some Pokemon are clearly based on mammals, like Tauros. Which raises the question, why do they lay eggs? I mean, don't get me wrong, some ancient mammalians laid eggs too, but they're more reptile-like than, you know, most of the Pokemon we see. I mean, you got Platypus, I guess, you want a mammal that lays eggs, but even then they basically hatch almost instantly. So yeah. We're gonna go with the usual name of Cutter, you know? As for why we're taking Cyndaquil, well, it's to force our rival to take Totodile. Just so I have a tactical edge over him. Because we're gonna have L-Kid and Pichu on this team, so that gives me more chances to try and shut him down with it, with my baby Pokemon, you know? Yeah, I'll take your number, alright. Now we just have to set out and make our way to Mr. Pokemon's to get that egg. Yeah, this might come in handy, depending on how I decide to deal with my rival later. Of course, since he has Totodile, he also can lower my defenses. So we may end up in a battle of the leers. Who can leer harder at their target? Or more frequently? Probably myself. I imagine my rival will do it once, then stop, because, you know, he's lazy like that. I mean, I guess if I get a level, I could try using a smokescreen strategy, but that probably isn't going to work as well as I'd like. Knowing my luck, I'd have to hit him 6 times, and he'd still manage to hit me, because Scratch is accurate enough that it occasionally gets through. Honestly, I don't like this matchup. This Hoothoot's level 4, after all. So probably not being a tougher customer than I like. Let's face it, Cyndaquil doesn't hit very hard. I mean, it could be worse, it could be Chikorita, but that's a problem of a different kind. Chikorita is just a bad pick in general for this generation. Mostly because Chikorita doesn't learn moves that really could have used, like Sleep Powder or Leech Seed, like Bulbasaur, so it doesn't really have the recovery or the ability to shut down opponents that can do super effective damage against it for a time, so it can then, you know, set up or heal itself. And then you got the problem with the fact that, you know, most of the gym leaders you run into in this generation all have the advantage over grass types, practically. It's basically a problem from beginning to end for you if you go that route. Or if they don't have a strength against you, they resist your attacks. So all of a sudden you have to rely on something like Mud Slap or something to come in and save the day. It wasn't fun doing a mono grass run, I'll tell you that much. There's just too many Pokemon that can exploit your typings there. Will and his Psychic Powers basically shut down a lot of the Pokemon that are grass type, because they also have dual poison, which is always somewhat irritating. The first gym leader does flying types, which means when you get the Pidgeotto, which has Gust, a flying move, you're usually in for a world of hurt. Then you got Bugsy, you know, who's got bug Pokemon, which means, you know, Fury Cutter will just tear you a new butthole. Militank's not too much of a problem beyond the usual, you know, it hits pretty hard if it can get enough rollouts out. But if you can put it to sleep or something before it can pull that off, you know, you're probably going to be alright. Albeit, if you're going to be using Paris for that, you're going to probably be in a hard spot, because being a bug type, it's weak to rock maneuvers, but you can always go with Sleep Powder on, say, like an Oddish or something. You have options, I'm just saying. The Ghost Gym is a problem, though, because Ghost Pokemon, you know, are, at least the ones that are usually used, are going to be Ghastly, so they're part Poison. So instantly your Leaf attacks are going to be shut down. Your Grass moves are just, you know, negated effectively from being resisted by half because of Poison typing. Steel types resist you. Fighting Gym's neutral. You do have the advantage over the Poliwrath, though. Yeah. Then you got the Ice Gym, total disadvantage again. And then you got the Dragon Gym with Claire, and dragons resist grass type attacks, and at least one of her Pokemon knows Ice Beam. So yeah, being a grass trainer is not exactly fun, Gen 2. I heard it gets worse in Heart Gold / Soul Silver, because you learn stuff like Bislam at much later levels in that gen. So it's much harder to use Chikorita if you start with it. Just a real nightmare. It's not an insurmountable problem, but gosh darn, it's the problem you just don't want to deal with. And I suppose that's a bit off topic, but yeah, every time I think about the grass run, it just annoys me how much of a disadvantage I had to fight at. It wasn't as bad as the Ghost run. I had to get it even with them when it came to the flying run, because I'm like, I got normal type Pokemon here, I can completely shut down most of their offenses, and I did. I suppose it was petty revenge, but it was revenge nonetheless. Darn it. And I already know my tackle attack ain't gonna knock this thing out in one hit. So yeah, it looks like I'm probably gonna end up having to heal with my berry on this thing. Darn it, I didn't want to do that. Oh, it failed at that tail whip? Nice. But I'm guessing it's gonna bring it, you know, this time. Yep. I took 6 points of damage. That hurt. It hurt a lot. Well, let's knock it out and move on, I suppose. Well, at least we got a level out of it. So we learned a new move, Smokescreen, but unless you have a lot of time to set up on, it's not that helpful. And honestly, I'd rather have Double Team than Smokescreen. Being able to raise your evasion is usually a lot more helpful than being able to lower your opponent's accuracy. I mean, if you can do both at the same time, that's cool. Don't get me wrong, it's kind of useful if you can do both. But very rarely you're going to be doing both. I've thought about building a few Pokemon in the past that could do it, but I always sort of scrap those ideas. I just don't like the feel of it, usually. I don't know, maybe it just feels a little too cheap. Albeit we're going to be using some cheap tactics on this run, I guarantee it. There's just no way around it. I can already see what Pichu is going to be like when I build it. And it's going to be a cheap Pokemon. But let's face it, Pichu's one of those Pokemon that's going to be hard to use anyway. It's got like the worst stats of like any baby Pokemon. The only thing that might be worse might be the baby Azumarill. Man, that thing just cries as soon as you see it because it knows how bad it is. It's actually in tears. It's in agony from being so weak. It has to mourn. Shouldn't cry too bad though. You know, when it evolves, it's powerful. Well, time for a Leer off. Yep. Well, for now we're tied at 1-1. Okay. How about this turn? Have another Leer. Oh no, it scratched me. Hit me for 7 points of damage? Damn. Well, I'll take a heal. Then start getting serious here. Come on, Totodile, take my tackle attack to the face. Darn, it still doesn't do that much damage. I might have to pull out the potion too, just to win this battle. Nope, critical hit for the save. Whew. I really didn't want to have to pull out another healing item. But I was willing to do it if I had to. Not really. It wasn't that satisfying, to be honest. Man, Cyndaquil, you need to get a lot stronger. I mean, you're not going to be used this run, but yeah. I really wish you hit a bit harder. Even with Leers, I still couldn't do that much damage to Totodile. And I hit it, like, what, 3 times? And it still looked like I was doing about as much damage as it was doing to me after doing it once. Suppose it's fitting. Fire Pokemon probably are a bit more offensively based usually, but still. Yeah, it was. I just fought the guy who took it. Yeah, I battle a trainer like that alright. And since I can't find anything creative to put there, I'll go with my inner child and name him an idiot. You know, in a foreign language, no less. Yeah, I suppose it is terrible, but I have to give this to you, you know, the Bistry Egg, which holds Togepi, you know, the one baby Pokemon I'm not really interested in using, besides Tyrogue, but yeah. We're already ruling off, Togepi off the list of baby Pokemon I'm going to use, mostly because Togepi's main gimmick is, well, Metronome, and that's too random for me to want to rely on. Don't get me wrong, I mean, Metronome's fun, but this team's already going to be at enough disadvantages already. Do I want to be relying on a move that, you know, is basically Russian roulette? No, I don't. Well, I'll definitely take the Pokeballs. Yeah, but you gotta weaken them first, man. You can't just throw a Pokeball at them. I mean, unless it's a Master Ball, then just go for it. I mean, Master Balls always work. They're sort of like those golden mortuary tablets in Shaman King, Soaring Hawk, and Sprinting Wolf. Those always work too. Of course, those cost 1,000 yen, which is a bit annoying because it takes a while to get that kind of cash in that game. But I suppose the plus side is, you know, you got yourself, you know, the nuclear option of mortuary tablets. So you don't have to worry about the capture, at least. Unlike if you use the standard one, which breaks all the time, because it's garbage. I haven't caught any yet. And I had thought about cheating early on to get something, you know, on the way to Mr. Pokemon's house. But you can't buy Pokeballs until after you return to town and get sent on your mission to become the world's greatest Pokemon trainer. But yeah, that'll be it for this episode. Next time we'll make our way to Violet City and I'll have established who's going to be on my team. For the most part, probably. Until then, see ya.